Imagine a small town in 1912, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's names, where children played in the streets until sundown, and doors were left unlocked at night. That town was called Villisca, Iowa, and on one summer morning, June 10th, it woke to a horror so dark, so brutal, that its name would forever be linked to one of the most terrifying unsolved murders in American history. It was Sunday, June 9th. The Moore family had just returned home from a church service, a children's program where the kids had sung and recited verses. Josiah Moore, the father, is a hard-working man, respected in town. His wife, Sarah Moore, is kind, gentle, and deeply involved in the church. Their children, Herman, just 11, Catherine, 10, Boyd, 7, and little Paul, only 5 years old. That night, they weren't alone. Two young girls, Ina and Lena Stillinger, had asked their parents if they could spend the night with Catherine. Permission was granted. The girls were excited. They packed their night dresses and giggled all the way home with the Moores. The little white house on East 2nd Street was filled with laughter, warmth, and the innocent noise of children. By 10 p.m., candles were blown out, and the house fell silent. 8 souls slept peacefully inside. None of them would wake again. Sometime after midnight, when the streets of Villisca were silent and the moonlight barely lit the windows, someone entered the Moore home. The door was unlocked. It always was. Footsteps creaked softly across the wooden floor. Upstairs, Josiah and Sarah slept soundly in their bed. Their children, safe in their rooms, dreamed the gentle dreams of youth. And then, the first strike. The killer raised an axe, heavy, sharp, and merciless. Josiah never had the chance to scream. Blow after blow rained down until the room was painted in crimson. Sarah followed, her cries swallowed by the night. But the horror did not end there. The murderer moved silently into the children's rooms. One by one, the axe fell. Herman, Catherine, Boyd, Paul. Their small bodies could not withstand the brutal force. And still, it was not enough. Downstairs, Ina and Lena Stillinger awoke to the sounds above them. Before they could run, before they could even scream, the axe came down once again. 8 lives ended. The house that had been full of love and warmth only hours earlier was now silent, except for the slow, calm footsteps of the killer. But this was no ordinary crime. When the killer was done, he lingered. He covered the mirrors with cloth. He draped clothing over the victims' faces. He calmly prepared food in the kitchen, eggs and bacon, though he never ate it. And in the sink, he left behind a bowl filled with bloody water, as if he had washed his hands, and then walked away into the night, leaving the axe behind. The town of Villisca would never be the same. At 7 a.m., the neighbors noticed something was wrong. The house was still, the curtains drawn. Josiah was always an early riser, but there was no sign of life. A concerned neighbor entered. Within minutes, she stumbled back outside, pale and trembling. "Call the police," she whispered. "Something terrible has happened." When officers arrived, they found what is now known as one of the bloodiest crime scenes in American history. 8 people murdered in their sleep. The town gathered in shock and grief. Rumors spread like wildfire. Who could have done such a thing? The investigation was chaotic. Some believed it was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling preacher who had attended the same church program the Moores were at that night. He was a strange man, nervous and unsettling. At one point, he even confessed to the murders, but his story was inconsistent. He later recanted. Others whispered it was Frank Jones, a wealthy businessman who despised Josiah Moore after a bitter falling out. Some said Jones had hired someone to do the job. Still, others claimed it was the work of a serial killer, a man moving from town to town, murdering families in their sleep, always with an axe. But no matter how many suspects they named, no one was ever convicted. The case remains unsolved more than a century later. Time passed, but the house never forgot. Locals said that strange noises echoed through its walls. Children's laughter, faint whispers, the sound of footsteps when no one was there. Paranormal investigators who have stayed overnight report heavy feelings of dread, doors opening on their own, and the chilling sensation of being watched. Some even claim to hear the sound of an axe being dragged slowly across the floor. The Villisca Axe Murders were real. On June 10th, 1912, Josiah and Sarah Moore, their children Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, along with Ina and Lana Stillinger, were all brutally murdered in their home. Today, the Moore house still stands, quiet, waiting, a place where shadows linger, and where the memory of that night refuses to fade.